For the past 2 nights, we have brought you an in-depth look at the story of Cassie Compton. She was 15 when she went missing from her home in Stuttgart back in 2014. Stuttgart police have kept a close eye on the man who was in a relationship with Cassie's mother at that time. Channel 7's Kayla Lafferty joins us now with more on that story.
Yeah, well, Cassie's mother, Judy Compton Kimsey, was engaged to a man named Brandon Rhodes when Cassie disappeared. He is now in jail in Independence County on several charges unrelated to Cassie's disappearance. He says he now wants to talk about what happened to Cassie.
Brandon Rhodes wrote me a letter saying, "I am willing to do whatever it takes to bring closure to Judy and once and for all put this Cassie case to a close. There's only so much a man can keep bottled up inside of him. It's time the truth was presented to everyone." The request to interview Brandon that Channel 7 put into the Independence County Jail and the Independence County Sheriff's Office have gone unanswered. Tina Storrs, a private investigator with Halo's Investigations, and I decided to go up to the jail on a Saturday for visitation to talk to Brandon.
I'm a little nervous but excited. I'm hoping that he's going to give us some information that we've needed for such a long time.
Prior to our visit to the Independence County Jail, Tina and I have both been in contact with Brandon through letters. We called the day before and were told it would not be a problem for us to see him for visitation. He was listed on the Sheriff's Office website as an inmate at the jail, and we were told the day before that he was in custody. Since we were there for visitation and not for a formal interview, we were not allowed to bring in a camera or recording device, so none of what happened next was recorded.
When you get to the jail for visitation, you walk up to the main entrance and you press a button on an intercom and tell someone on the other line who you're there to visit. Tina and I told them we were there to see Brandon Rhodes, and the woman told us he was no longer in custody at the Independence County Jail. But the night before, when we called, we were told he was in custody.
We rang the bell to say we were here to see Brandon Rhodes, and I spelled his last name out. They told us that he was not here any longer. So we asked where. They wouldn't give us a location.
We were told for privacy purposes they could not tell us where Brandon Rhodes was currently located. Brandon was still listed as an inmate on the jail's website, and we called the next day and were told Brandon Rhodes was still booked into the Independence County Jail.
But I'd like to know what's going on with him.
Well, as soon as I left the jail, I wrote Brandon a letter telling him the experience we had when we attempted to visit him, and just days ago I got a response from him. In the letter, he says in part, "I find it disturbing because I knew nothing about your visit to Independence County Jail. I am indeed still located at ICJ." He then asked me to visit again so he can tell me about his experience while booked into the Independence County Jail. And Tina and I do plan to go back up to Independence County to visit Brandon one more time and just see what he has to say about everything.
Well, if he has answers about what happened to Cassie, it's important that we hear from him at some point at least.
Yes, and of course we're going to be updating the podcast, which you can get pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
Okay, Kayla, we'll be talking more about this, I know. Thanks so much for all your hard work on this. Again, Kayla has spent the past 6 months researching this case. She has put together a podcast that she mentioned focusing on Cassie's disappearance. It's now available on every media platform where you can listen to podcasts. Just search Timeline: The Disappearance of Cassie Compton.